Parshas Lecha is one of the most special Parsha. I know I could say that about every single one, but it really is unique. So up until this point, we had two Parshas. We had Bereshit, which is the Parsha about the creation of the world, followed by Noah, which is basically God destroying the world and rebuilding it back up with a community of individuals who tried to rebel against God by building a tower. Now, out of the blue, we are introduced to a new character named Avram, who will eventually be renamed Avraham, who is told, Lech Lecha, go for yourself from your land, Artsacha, from the land of your fathers, from your family, and go to the land that I'm going to give to you to inherit. So first of all, out of the blue, who is this guy Avraham? Why is he following God? Why is he leaving his family? And what did he do to merit God talking to him? So what I want to focus on is maybe Avraham's attributes that we see after this story, and maybe that can help explain who he is and why he's leaving. So we know that Avraham is known for the attribute of chesed, which is kindness. He's the one that is constantly running to greet individuals. Anyone who goes near his tent, he tries to bring them in and see if they need food, if they need water. He's the one when God tells him he's going to destroy the wicked people of Sodom. Avraham goes and says, well, how could you destroy them? Maybe there's somebody righteous. There's maybe 50 righteous people or 40 righteous people. Avraham is selfless. I guess that is the word I would use to describe him. And what I find so interesting is, why did he have to leave his father? Why did he have to leave his place of birth? Why did he have to go follow God into a new land? I mean, it's nice to inherit a new property, but I think this is less about going to a new land and more about leaving where you came from. Now, I think in life, it's important for everyone, no matter where you're from, at a certain point to leave where you're from, leave your family, and to start a new journey. That could be going to college, that could be at some point, just even if you stayed local for college, going and traveling, moving to a new city or a country, getting out of your circle. Because sometimes when we become too comfortable where we are, we get complacent and we don't want to move and we don't change, and we're less open to other people and cultures and new ideas. Now think about last week's Parsha. Noah means comfort, right? Noah was all about being comfortable. And the people of the Tower of Babel were all about, not conforming and everyone being the same. And this week's Parsha is starting off so incredibly different. It's saying, no, you have to have new experiences, and you have to sometimes leave where you're from in order to grow and to change. And it's for you. It's so you'll become a better person. It's so you'll be more open-minded. And now think about Avraham. He's the one that runs after new people. And I think that when you leave where you're from, you're more open to new cultures and new religions and new ethnicities, because you're no longer in a dominant place where everyone's the same. You're not like everyone else. And all of a sudden, you're the new person, and you know what it's like to be a stranger, and you know what it's like to go somewhere new. And if Avraham's a person who loved to greet people, and he loved to meet new people, and he loved to be hospitable, maybe it came from him leaving where he was from, instead of just always being centered around the people he was always with. Now, we obviously live in very divided times. There's a huge election next week. And honestly, whether you're voting for the left or the right, it doesn't matter, because I think what's so important is there's always going to be somebody who's going to have a different view than yours. And I think we're so focused now on, how could somebody not have my views? Instead, I think we should be focusing on, why does somebody have their views? In order to understand somebody's views, you have to live their life and see life through their perspective, through their struggles, through their communities, through their job. And I think we don't focus enough about the other anymore because we're so consumed with the self. And that was why I think God destroyed the generation of the flood, because they were selfish. And I think that's why he scattered the people at the Tower of Babel in last week's Torah portion, because they were too much the same. And it's so beautiful to be different. Nature is diverse and vibrant and colorful, and there's different species. And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't have your own communities and you shouldn't, I'm not against community at all. Quite the contrary. I think it's so beautiful that we can agree to disagree and that we can see people who are different than us, as long as they're not an actual threat, and try and understand their views. So whichever side you're on, try and see the other. Try and see it from somebody else's perspective. And in order for that to happen, you have to leave where you are. You have to kind of leave your mindset, leave your pre-existing perceptions on what you think life is about, and leave your negative mindset or your judgmental mindset, because we all have, our own views, and sometimes it clouds understanding somebody else. Because once we leave our own head, we're able to understand somebody else's. And I think that is so important for community building, for forging good relationships. And that was what Avraham was all about. He was the man who we start our nation from. He's the one who is the father of the children of Israel, truly, because he was the one who was open-minded enough to see God, but to also at the same time appreciate monotheism and that there's something bigger than himself, to also love humanity. And unfortunately today, I think we sometimes think we have to choose between one or the other. But I think that there is a happy medium. And I think it's when you start to realize that there's more to life beyond you. It's not just God, it's also other types of people. I think we start to bridge that gap and this divide that we are having such a hard time overcoming. Shabbat Shalom.